Hello everybody and welcome back. Russell Lee's coming to you from Confidence Pest Control. I just want to say thank you so much for all the views, the likes, the comments, all the new subscribers. Thank you so much. I really, from the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me that you're finding some value in these videos, and I want to continue to help you in any way that I can. I've even had a few people reach out to me lately, just asking, more specific questions, and man, I'm so thankful that you're choosing me to help you out. That's really all I want, is to be able to help out others and share with you my journey. Hopefully y'all can avoid the same mistakes that I make, and the same thing that I always say. I just want to say thank you so much. With that all being said, a few people have asked me what kind of products I use. Or what specific products. If you refer back to the last video or a couple videos ago, I made a video on the equipment, but today I'm going to be going over the products. Hopefully you can see. I know you can't get too, you can't see too well, but don't worry, I'm going to show it. I'm going to hold it up here and show you exactly what I'm doing. Now, please remember that I am not super technical. I mean, I am, as far as like my training. I know a good bit, and I know what I'm doing, but at the same time, this isn't what I live for. This isn't my area of expertise. Mine is the customer relationship, whereas the technicians, I do that as well right now, but I'm looking to get out of the truck, hopefully sooner rather than later, so I can work on the business versus in the business. But that's neither here nor there. That's just me explaining to you right now that these are the products that I use. They work for me, and so just take that for what you will. Know that I'm not the bug guy who's super scientific with what works and what doesn't work. I'm just, hey, if the product works and the customers aren't calling me back, then I'm going to stick with this. That's kind of the way that I'm going at it right now. But hopefully one day in the future I get somebody on my team who loves the product and loves learning about all that, because that's something that I want them to do versus me. So with that all being said, I'm going to jump right into it real quick. I'm going to grab some gloves. Sorry, I should have done that before the video, but you know me, like I said, I'm not the kind to make all the edits and be fancy about it. I'm just here to show you what I'm doing, give you the advice where I can, and hopefully help you in any way that I can. So, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you right now, in my B&G, what I use for interior, Alpine WSG. Man, this is, if you're in the industry, you know how good it is. I use that for, to be honest, everything. For the inside, it works great for German roaches. You throw in an IGR in there and it's gonna work really well. It works great for your spiders, your earwigs, just everything. For the interior, you couldn't find a better product, in my opinion. Alpine WSG. And some of you may ask, hey, what's the mix ratio and things like that, man. Hey, one of these things that I'm gonna tell you to do is read the label, learn these things. If I'm just giving you all the answers, you're just taking my word for it. So take some time. Even me, I would ask, hey, what, as a technician, it was just, hey, this is the product we're using, this is the amount that we mix it in, go spray, go treat. Now you got to be a little bit more technical. The money that you're spending in this product, you want to make sure you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, and you want to make sure that it's cost effective or cost efficient. And so Alpine WSG, it can be a little expensive, but this one in particular, it's worth everything. It's a really great product. So for the interior, mix that up. It has, what I love about this is it has the mix, well, your little cup right here, and it tells you exactly where 10, 20, 30. You know, you mix that in there, and like I said, you're good to go. Throw an IGR for German roaches, and man, it works really, really well. For the exterior, I use Bifin, and I've switched it up. You know, I've used Suspend SC, I've used Talstar, I've used, you know, a few different products, but you know, right now, Bifin IT, especially now that we're going into the off season. And real quick on that subject, know your seasons. You know, depending on where you're at, you know, pest control could be seasonal. In Texas, not so much. That's the beautiful thing about here. You know, when we get out here, even right now, it's a high of like 93 today, and it's October. It's almost the middle of October. So, you know, we're fortunate enough, you know, to be able to provide valuable pest services year round, pretty much. I mean, in January and February, it tends to get a little bit colder, but right now it's still a really good time. But the bugs are starting to die down a little bit. I mean, it's just not what it is in the springtime and the early summertime, all the way through, you know, August, September. October is whenever it definitely starts to die down. With that being said, you know, then you can rotate your products as well. You know, use products that are going to be in the spring. For example, Taurus is really, really great for, you know, it's got Fipronil. It's a, I wouldn't say knockoff because it's just as great, but it's just like Termidor. That's going to help out with ants. So if you treat your home around the area, maybe you put some Taurus Trio G in the yard, the ants are going to be gone. It's going to work really, really well, you know. So know your market, know your area, know what kind of, you know, issues everybody's having, and you can really tailor. You can get the service, you can get other products that might save you a little bit of money as well, that are still going to be really, really effective. For example, you know, if you want to use Onslaught Fast Cap, my favorite product out there, but I mean, that thing is it's expensive. You know, those of you know, you know. So right now, I'm using the Bifin IT. It is encapsulated, so the product's going to stay a little bit longer, especially, you know, that's for my quarterly customers, and it works great. I've been having really, really great results with it so far. I mixed that up in my backpack sprayer, and I'm good to go. It's a great product. Real quick as well, whenever you're switching products, if you're going to be using products, and I wouldn't say it necessarily has to be done every week, but something I do want to preach to you is taking care of your equipment, because if you take care of your equipment's going to take care of you. That's such a big deal. In the wintertime, bring it inside. You know, if you have a garage, bring it inside. It's going to start getting cold in the wintertime, obviously, and I've seen it happen a million times. Well, I mean, a dozen times at least, where they leave their B&G in the box, or maybe even in the bed of the truck. We had a pretty hardcore freeze in Texas a couple years ago, and I was one of the only technicians who didn't have to get a completely new B&G because their wand was full of water, that it had expanded and it cracked it, you know. So you want to make sure you're taking care of your product, and that's your, you know, your B&G, your backpack, your whatever. If you got a tank, you know, a big old, you know, spray rig, then whatever it is, you want to take care of it. I use this Nutrasol. It's a spray tank cleaner. I just put a little bit of powder in there, put a couple gallons in there, and just completely drain it. It cleans out the pump. It cleans out your tank. It works really, really well. That's something that I recommend you do get. And like I said, just take care of your equipment. Excuse me, sorry about that. The next thing I do use a lot for mosquitoes, and so a lot of my bi-monthlies, it just really depends. I mean, I was using this quite a bit. It's Bifin XTS. It's very, very similar. I mean, it's almost the exact same thing as the Bifin IT, only this one, the Bifin IT, is an encapsulated product. This one is not. I mean, you can see the active ingredient, the bifenthrin, is 25.1%, you know, versus the active ingredient with bifenthrin, which is only 7.9%. Really, I mean, same active ingredient. It's going to have a great knockdown for spiders, scorpions, It works really, really well for everything. Just the only difference is that one has a higher active ingredient or higher percentage, and it's not encapsulated. So that one is going to be great for your mosquito program, and for maybe your bi-monthlies or your monthlies, because the residual on that is maybe 45 days. I mean, and you're going to get lucky if you get that out of it, where this one's a little bit longer. And for those quarterly customers, that one's maybe a better option, because you're not going to have as many recalls. Like I said, that product won't break down quite as quickly. So both great products. This is great on your initial service as well. You're going to get a great knockdown for you. So I definitely recommend having both of those if you're going to get it. And the really great thing is, I know for this bottle of Bifin IT, it was like 50 bucks. You know, it's crazy. It's awesome. It makes a lot. This one, the Bifin XCS, this bottle makes about 800 gallons of product. Well, you know, finished product. It works, and it's a termiticide as well. So, you know, it's not like a Termidor or Taurus or something like that, but it is labeled for termites, if you know, so you can use that, and I've used that in the past as well. Obviously, I'm a contract blocks. If you're in California or something like that, I'm sorry. Here in Texas, we're still good. We use the contract blocks. They work really, really well. You know, if you know pest control, you probably know all about contract blocks, how they work. Again, the technical side, I'm not going to dive a whole lot into that. It's just really, you know, you guys wanted to see what I use, and I just want to show you guys. Like I said in the equipment video, dust is a pest control professional's best friend. I am big on dust with German roaches, everything. You know, I will undo the outlets. I put a couple of puffs of dust in there, dust in the areas where, you know, those roaches are, you know, where they're at, and you're going to be good to go. Dust. I dust the weep holes, all the cracks and crevices around the home. You know, it's not getting disturbed by all the UV ray. It's not getting broken down. It lasts much longer. You could use only dust around the house and have really good results, and that I'll put my name on that. You know, my mentor, he's not a big fan of Wasp Freeze. He's like, you know, just use your B&G or your backpack or whatever. And you can, you know, I've done it plenty of times, but I'm going to tell you right now, and don't get the Wasp X or the Wasp X or some of the other ones. Wasp Freeze is the way to go. It's got good pressure, so it shoots maybe not all the way to the second story, but it'll shoot up high. And I mean, it's immediate. Those wasps that are on that wasp nest, they're done right away. You don't have to worry about spraying them, making them mad, them flying around everywhere. I got stung last week because I was doing that. I was waiting on that bottle to come in, but I knocked down a wasp nest, and they were dead, you know, or they were dying, but one was on the floor, on the ground. It crawled up my leg. It got me. First time in 10 years that I've been stung, so I was pretty upset about that, but just because it broke my track record. But that Wasp Freeze would have made sure that it didn't happen at all. Like I said, you spray it, and don't, man, I see guys that will use like one full can on like 2 or 3 wasp nests. I mean, it's and you're good. It doesn't need a lot, man. It's very, very effective. Highly recommend if you're in somewhere where you have a lot of, you know, paper wasps, all those, you know, really aggressive red wasps. That's the stuff that's gonna knock it out, and you don't have to worry about a thing, man. It's really, really great. Web out. I don't know how many of you guys use this, but me personally, I've always been a big fan since I first came into the industry. I would go out to docks, you know, sometimes, and you know, you just put a little bit of that and get that out there, and that's going to help out so much with the spider webs, especially if you're in an area that might have a pond somewhere near, anytime there's water, there's going to be a lot of, spider webs and pests. Everybody knows that. But there's things you can do to combat that. You don't want to have to go out there every other month and it looks like the initial service, where it hasn't been de-webbed at all. You don't want that. You want to be able to make sure that it's as minimal as possible. That web out will help. Just put a capful, just an ounce into your backpack sprayer. When you're treating, make sure the label says you can get spot treat certain areas, and I like to treat the exterior, and then I like to treat the corners where webs typically, they build up at. Don't get the windows. You don't want to spray windows. You don't want to dirty your home up. But in certain areas, you can above the garage maybe. Make sure that, again, it's very light. You don't want to be soaking up the house. Read the label. The label is always the law, so always make sure you're reading the label. If it says you can't spray above your head, then don't do it. But there's just certain areas that I just hit really, really fast. Just a quick spray, but that web out, it has very vinegary. It smells like pickles almost, but it will. It has a little bit of oil, so it makes it so that those webs just aren't able to stick. So you'll notice the difference. Go to those houses. Treat those houses, come back the next time, and you're going to notice, man, there's a whole lot less webs than there usually is. And so I'm a big fan of that. I actually need to get me a new bottle. But overall, these are the products as far as, what I'm putting in my backpack. Inside my other box, I've got some buckets. They're already full, so I honestly just didn't want to pull them out. But I'm going to tell you right now what they are. In one bucket right now is Inti. This time of year, October, November, really September all the way through December, here in Texas in particular, in this area, in my region, we're getting a lot of crickets right now. Crickets are just flying everywhere. They're all over the place. That Inti helps with crickets. It helps with grasshoppers. It's a bait, so you put it away from the home. It works really, really well. I've had phenomenal results with that. Since I came into the industry, it's a lot of ground up corn cob husks. So whenever you do, the bait's mixed in there. Like I said, it is a bait. So, when you do it, just be careful. Know that it's pretty dusty. I make sure that I don't, and it's a product you don't need to granulate the entire yard. Find the specific areas where the problem area, the mulch beds, around trees, bushes, things like that. Use a little bit of that. It's going to work really, really great. I use the Bifin LP, the granules. That works really, really well for general pests all across the board. I use that one. And I have in there some Taurus Trio G. Now that product right there is going to be phenomenal. You can upcharge in the springtime. Say, hey, I'm going to granulate your entire yard, and you're going to get fire ant control for easily 7 to 8 months. And I mean that, but it has to be done correctly on all aspects. And I say that just by if you have a big spray rig, a big tank and a big rig, you can say, hey, I'm going to do this. We're offering, fire ant treatments this year for, let's just say $200. Some people will say, I'm doing it for $500. Some people swear by Top Choice, and great product as well, but it's got fipronil in it, the Trio G. It's going to take care of all your ants. That I can assure you. It's a little bit more expensive compared to some of the other products, but it's worth it at the end of the day. And you're going to make, one bag is 20 pounds, and you're not using 20 pounds per yard. So you can, if you were to sell a fire ant protection plan with the guaranteed for a year, you might come back there later on, but it's going to last you every bit of 7 or 8 months. But when you do that, you granulate the entire yard. Be sure that the customer waters it in, or that like I said, if you have a tank, you charge them a little bit extra. Say, we'll granulate and then we're going to water it in for you. That's an option for you to do. And like I said, that granule is going to dissolve into the soil. It's going to make sure that ants are just no-go. It's not happening in your yard. I'm telling you, I've done it. And I took this product because at my last company, we would do that in the springtime, from March all the way through May. We would do granular treatments of Trio G, and 85-90% of our customers, we didn't have to go back and treat specifically for fire ants. Now, I'm not going to say that it's going to completely eliminate them, 100%. And, there's maybe, 15-20% of people that did call back. But a lot of the times, those customers didn't water it in like they were supposed to. And then it might just be, some fire ants, one fire ant away from the house that, built up. But for the most part, in my experience, I'm telling you, that Trio G works really, really well. Other than that, like I said in the other video, I keep my service pretty minimal as far as the products and everything that I'm using. I'm not doing I'm doing plenty. I'm doing a really great job. Don't think that I'm not. But, I'm dusting cracks and crevices. I'm treating the exterior. I'm removing the spider webs, making sure that they stay gone. And then when the interior is needed, and I'm also a big believer in not treating the interior of the home every service. Most of my customers, they get their service treated inside on the initial service, and after that they really won't need it for the rest of the year. Maybe if they have a specific issue like rover ants, or they have something inside that makes me go over there. But overall, I don't have to do it a whole lot. And that's kind of the philosophy I go into, and I talk to my customers about. I said, look, I tell them, by doing a really, really good and thorough job on the exterior, we keep those bugs very, very minimal on the interior. I can't say that I'm going to 100% keep them out. I mean, you can do exclusion and you can seal up, but at the end of the day, a bug is going to make its way into the home, and customers know that. So set that expectation up. But you don't have, there's a lot of the old school mentality is, hey, I'm paying you to do the outside and the inside. And it's just, I talk to my customers, I educate them, I let them know, I mean, hey, you're paying me for my results, and, try it with me, just bear with me, and let's try not to do the inside this time. And I explain it in a very professional way, and I very rarely have any pushback on that. And I say, look, let's focus on the outside. And maybe it doesn't go to never doing the inside, but, maybe it's only once or twice a year versus, 4 or 6 times every time that I go out there. They expect it, but when you set those expectations and they see the results of what happens whenever you're really thorough on the exterior, they say, you're right, I don't need that on the inside. So that's my take on that. I do put glue boards down for certain customers. They like them. I put them on the garage corners. This day and age, some people like them, some people don't. You're going to come across a lot of the older generation that's going to say, oh yeah, we love the glue board. We want 2 right there, 2 in, a little bit further down, and a couple by the door. They want to catch everything. They don't care that it catches lizards, birds, or anything like that. They just want to, they want those glue boards. For them, maybe it's a visual thing that they love, seeing all the bugs that got stuck on there that possibly could have made it into their home. So, some people love it, they really do. But then on the other side of that, millennials and the younger generation, they're very, they're very caring, and they just don't want to see birds get stuck on them and have to die just because it was an easy meal. Little geckos and salamanders, all those, they see these little easy meals and they get stuck on them, and then, they're done as well. So a lot of those customers, they just ask not to use them. So customer preference, you ask them, you talk to them, and you decide. But as far as everything that I'm doing, I explained it. I do mix an IGR with that Bonit XTS when I do my mosquito fogging. But other than that, man, this is it. Alpine WSG, Delta dust. Any dust, is going to work really well. I've had great, success with Delta, so I use Delta. Bonit IT, it's an encapsulated product, so it'll last longer, and it's great for your quarterly services, especially in the slower months. It's gonna save you a little bit, and it's going to be effective, which is the most important thing. The Bonit XTS. Great product, higher percentage of the active ingredient, but it's got a great knockdown. It's not going to last nearly as long, but for those monthly services, those bi-monthly services, for your mosquito services, that's going to be a great product that I recommend you use. And a jug like that is, I think I got it for $84, but I'm very, very fortunate where I'm at that there is a pest control owner who has a retail pest control store. I mean, it's open to the public, and he goes in there. There's special discounts for owners, and there's owner prices and all that. But he knows everything. Shout out to Butch from Allstate, man. He's my mentor. Dude knows everything to know. So he's forgotten more about pest control than I'll ever know, man. So yeah, he's the man. He helps me out so much, and he pushes me to certain products, instead of having to spend a whole lot on the Bayer, he's a big component of, or he's a big fan of Zoicon products. He's turned me on to a lot of Zoicon products. I use a lot of that stuff as well. But let's see, other than that, like I said, the web out's going to help you. Wasp Freeze, I think it's absolutely crucial. It's going to help you from getting stung, and it's going to kill those wasps really, really quick. And then the granules, Inti, Trio G, Bifin LP, that's a great one. Talstar, if you can get your hands on Talstar, it's a little bit more expensive. I do say that the Bifin LP is a great, really, really great product. As you can see, I'm a fan of Bifin products, but that Bifin LP, it's like sand, and it'll last you a good bit, and it's not quite as expensive. So that's a good option, especially in the beginning when you're trying to save some money. But hopefully this has helped. It's already going on quite a long video, and I apologize for that. If you have any other questions, anything you want to know about, any concerns, anything that you want advice on, remember, I don't know nearly as much as I don't know much at all. But whatever I do know, I'm willing to help out. So if you have any questions, if there's anything that I can help you with, please comment, reach out to me. Just like and share these videos. It really means the world to me. And, as always, just, hey, keep grinding, keep going. It's going to pay off. Keep it up. Stay hardworking. And as always, stay confident. Take care.